Next on the Broadway Show, Academy Award winner Jessica Chastain is back on Broadway in the incredible revival of A Doll's House. Plus, Dance Fever. You'll meet one of the breakout stars of Bob Fosse's Dancin. And we're celebrating more star-studded opening nights at FAT HAM and Aaron Sorkin's Camelot. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is the Broadway Show. So glad you could be with us for another jam-packed episode of the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal, so let's get started. Academy Award winner Jessica Chastain is back on Broadway in the incredible revival of A Doll's House. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
That's right, Tamsen. Jessica Chastain is back on Broadway this season. We sat down at the Hudson Theater to talk about what she's calling one of the highlights of her career. Jessica, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
How's Broadway treating you?
I'm in heaven. I love it so much.
I love the fact that you make theater such a big part of your career. I was thinking about it. You won an Oscar last year. Historically, actors who, when Hollywood names came to Broadway, it was sort of like, oh, they must need a boost in their career. But you're at the height of your career. I can't even think of another actor who came to Broadway so soon after winning an Oscar. I think it's wonderful, and I think it really sort of elevates what stage work means. What does it mean to you?
Well, I never thought about it in terms that you said, but it's true. It's like I had so much attention on me. It kind of felt like I could do whatever I wanted. I could get like a big money job. I could do all of these things. But at the end of the day, the thing that makes me the most happy is doing this. And of course, it's a gamble. You never know before you sign on to any project, like, how is it going to be? You know, how's the chemistry in the room with everyone else involved? It's just been the biggest joy, one of the greatest joys of my career so far. And then also the way that it's staged, I feel so closely connected to the audience. I feel like I'm in tune with them so much that it just feels like a great gift.
Well, this has been a big triumph. I know you've talked in the past about being scared of theater and maybe struggling with your insecurities with doing theater, but you've always loved it, and you really started your career on the stage. How has this felt for you?
It's felt amazing. I mean, I think there was, in the past I used to feel, I'm a sensitive person, so I would feel that the audience was an obstacle in some way, like if a cell phone went off or if someone started speaking loudly, I would feel it would be so difficult for me. And something has switched in my mind now where I see them as part of the performance. There's a pre-show I do where I get to look at everyone.
Right, yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, and I feel like I make eye contact with everyone, which 10 years ago I could have never done. I would have been way too scared and like shy. I feel their energy, I'm like sending them, I'm thinking thoughts and I'm sending people messages. And I feel that we're now going on the journey together and it's created the space. And I cannot imagine doing the show without that.
You're on stage before the audience comes in. They don't open the house until you're seated, and,
yes.
You're making the eye contact, and that's actually helping you feel more comfortable. Is that sort of helping?
Yeah, it just made me realize like we're all here to go on this journey together, and I'm not doing something separate from the audience. The reality is, there's so many people who can relate to Nora's journey, and the fact that they're pretending to be someone else to please others, and they don't really know who they are at the end of the day. And that goes beyond gender. There's so many people out there that are playing a part to try to gain some kind of power in a system that really denies them equality and freedom. And so I'm using that moment to connect and be like, we're the same. And we're gonna go on this journey together. So it really feels like this very profound, almost sacred experience.
When you were on this year's Oscars, you were wearing a mask in the audience, and
yes,
a lot of people were like, why is she wearing a mask? And I was like, because she's on Broadway. And it was an interesting sort of spotlight on the reality of being on Broadway right now.
Yeah, you get COVID, you're out for a week. And I didn't want to risk that. This is a huge priority to me. It's a great gift that I've been afforded. I'm very serious about it. I'm not doing this for any other reason because I love it. And so yes, I went to the Oscars and I went to the SAG Awards and I was the only one in the audience wearing a mask. And many people thought I was like saying some kind of political statement. No, The reality was I should have just worn a mask that said, I'm doing a Broadway show.
Right.
I have to take care of my cast.
Come see me on Broadway.
Yeah, I'm taking care of my cast, but I'm also, because I know this, I go to the stage door every day after the show. I meet people who fly in from around the world. Last night, there were people who flew in from Shanghai just to see the show. They spent thousands of dollars to come and see this play. And if I'm out of the show for a week, that would destroy me. And so I don't want to let anyone down.
Shakespeare just got invited to a cookout. It's a new take on Hamlet that makes the bard accessible for a modern-day audience, and it is deliciously good. Pulitzer Prize-winning good, in fact. Plus, it's stacked with serious talent and rising stars. We hit the red carpet opening night.
It's necessary to constantly bring Shakespeare to new audiences because Shakespeare deserves that. He needs that. I think all works deserve that kind of love. I think my uncle had my father killed. Yeah! When you say, oh, this is an adaptation of a Shakespeare play, people think, okay, this is gonna be very buttoned up. But this play is messy. This play is a mess. It's all over the place in the best way. And this play feels like family. It feels like home.
Everybody loves Shakespeare. I'm a fan of the Bard myself, but there's something about getting to play with his language and my own Black experience with my own Black DNA and bringing my own experience into it that totally transforms the way that I even get to connect with him in the first place.
I'm so amazed that this show is so universal. For it to be a Black barbecue in North Carolina, for it to be so universal is a gift. People have access points to this play because it's Shakespeare, because it's queer, because it's a family story, because it's Black. Whatever your reason is, it's something that connects to a lot of people, and I'm just so honored.
I love that. I think it's a good gateway drug. And then when you read the real thing, you'll go, oh, I mean, you know, it'll be a really different experience because you've had this experience.
We're celebrating another huge opening night on Broadway. Emmy and Oscar winner Aaron Sorkin's got a new show on Broadway this spring. It's his adaptation of the classic Lerner and Loewe musical Camelot, minus the magic wands. We hit the carpet opening night.
It's very clear in Sorkin's work that he believes in the best that humanity has to offer. And his characters also firmly believe that humanity can be better. It's apparent in Arthur. Arthur so deeply believes, and some might say naively, sure, but he so deeply believes that this is a worthwhile mission, and he wants to make it his life's mission to create a better system and to pass it on to the future generation. And I think that's true in all of Sorkin's work.
You know, everybody knows Arthur and the Round Table, and they know that it was meant to sort of better the way people are governed. So he takes that idea and pushes it forward and tries to say, let's do this story without magic. Let's say people are people. They don't get any charms to make it work. They have to find their way to make equity work in a modern world.
I was just drawn to this incredible world and this idea that Arthur and Guinevere and Lancelot have to change the world and maybe be a force of good.
It's time to take a walk with a Broadway star, so let's send it out to Charlie Cooper.
All right, Kevin, we're walking to work.
We sure are. 41st Street, right here.
Yeah, exactly. Does it feel kind of weird to be walking to work, to know that you're going to be on Broadway? It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
It's been 16 years since my last Broadway show.
Right.
And I have to say, there is no place I would rather be in the world than on Broadway. And I don't just mean as a performer, but in the audience at a Broadway show.
For sure.
So to get to be in a show on Broadway, a brand new, original American musical comedy that has, you know, America at its heart, the people of America at its heart, you know, we're stronger together. It just, I couldn't ask for anything more.
So it's super funny, and I almost feel like this is like perfect for you because as someone who was the world's youngest, right, rodeo clown.
There you go, you did your research.
I mean, a full circle moment. I mean, is there anything from that experience that you take with you?
Well, you know, it was my first introduction to working with an audience were rodeos, and I would go out in between the events and do comedic acts while they were setting up for the next event. That was my first contact with an audience. So to start from a place of humor in that world, which is exactly what I'm doing here, and there's something about the role of Peanut. He is, you know, the town philosopher. He marries people, he buries people, he's the county clerk, he's the watchdog, he does it all. And a lot of my texts that Robert Horn, Tony Award-winning book writer, has so brilliantly written are jokes to the audience, which feels so much like my roots doing jokes to the audience in the rodeo. It just, and I get to wear cowboy boots. I mean, that's
How
like...
fun, I love that. What did you miss about Broadway when you were gone? You've done a ton of TV.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so grateful and fortunate, but there's nothing like Broadway. There's nothing like the audiences that come to a Broadway show.
Does it ever surprise you how well received this musical is? This musical that centers around corn.
I know, it's about corn, but it's also about community. And there are so many people that have come to see the show that say, I'm from Nebraska, I'm from Ohio, my family's in Iowa. I think that it almost gives voice to a demographic that has never had a voice in a Broadway show before.
Well, listen, we're here.
You want me to work?
I literally walked you to work. Oh my God. Thank you for letting me walk you to work.
This was the best walk ever. Yeah.
Love that.
I'll see you at Cobb County soon, I hope.
You sure will.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
They're dancing up a storm. Kolton Krouse is one of the breakout stars of the revival of Bob Fosse's Dancin. The show, an incredible recreation of Fosse's original Tony Award-winning choreography. We got to know Kolton.
Hey, I'm Kolton Krouse, and I am in Bob Fosse's Dancin. The first time I actually visited New York, I was around 9 or 10, and we went to go see Wicked. Once I saw that show at 9, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to be doing this. It's kind of like crazy. Our director is Wayne Salenta, who choreographed Wicked, and getting to work with him is just like such a highlight. So I was like, oh my God. It's kind of been crazy. When the announcement came, I wasn't sure if I was gonna audition. I actually kind of stopped dancing during the pandemic. I was over it for a minute and I was like, I don't know if this is what I want. I was figuring other things out. When I got the call from my agents that they were like, hey, do you want to go in for this? It just happened to be around the time that I was already flying to New York to film Westworld. I was like, sure, I'll just lengthen my trip out and I'll come in and then I'll do the audition and I'll go do this and then whatever happens, happens. And then I ended up booking it and I was like, it was crazy. And I was like, okay, so I'm dancing again. Great, got it. The most surreal part about this show is that all of us get to be ourselves. You embody the character as you. It's just so special because there's so many gender identities, racial, like all of these minorities that are being represented on stage that you never really get to see, and they're being represented in such an authentic way. No one's a stereotype on the stage. Everyone is their authentic, true self, and that's the most incredible part. Looking back at my younger self and who I am now, I would definitely tell my younger self not to hide. Don't try to fit in with someone else's stereotypes of what something should be. Just be authentically you, let your light shine, and don't dim it in any other way because like you're not gonna find joy that way. So just be you.
The Broadway show's back in just a sec.
Welcome back to the Broadway Show. Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera has ended its incredible 35-year run right here at the Majestic Theater. I caught up with all the stars on the closing performance red carpet. How do you feel? Here's it, the final moment. We're on the final red carpet of Phantom.
Can you believe it? We're like standing under this marquee that's been here for 35 years.
How many times in your life did you like walk by here, and to now be a part of the history must be a lot to take in?
Yeah, I remember the first time I came to New York. I was in high school and I turned the corner onto 44th Street and I was like, there it is.
You're in a starry audience tonight. Yeah. Everyone is really here for this moment. Yeah. How do you sort of deal with the emotions of a moment like this? You just have to sort of do your thing?
Yeah, I feel like you just have to stay in the moment, stay present. If emotions come up, let them come up. It's okay. You know, this show is for us. It's not for anyone else.
You must feel amazing pride watching the legacy of this show and this role over the years, and to see all the amazing performers that your work helped launch.
I watch it, and it's lovely seeing, especially in my role, seeing these young women coming on, and they're doing all the moves, everything that I created at the beginning, but they're bringing their own thing to it, their own uniqueness to it, and that's actually very lovely.
One of my favorite Phantoms. How you doing?
I'm great. I've been crying since last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about the emotions.
Well, we might have had a little pre-Phantom get-together last night at Sardi's, and I got to see so many people that I've known since I'm like 24 years old, and this is my family. I grew up here. I literally grew up in this theater, and would go away for a while, and then Hal would have me back, and then I'd go away and do another show that didn't make it and come back. So these are my people. It's like in my DNA.
This show actually means a lot to you two, doesn't it?
Yeah, it introduced us. I was Aral and Kathy was Christine on the national tour when we met. And here we are, celebrating 20 years of marriage this year.
And 2 children. So Phantom not only paid for our home, but also our children.
Former Christine Daae returns to the scene of the crime. How do you feel?
I feel a mixture of things, but the most of it is pride, actually. I feel very proud for my family that's on stage, backstage, that's going to be sitting all around us, and also pride to be a part of this legacy. I mean, look at this. Nothing like this will ever happen again on Broadway.
What's the greatest thing this show has brought you?
I didn't know what a musical was when I was a little kid in Ohio, and my dad took me to see the show for the first time when I was 4 years old, and I was like, what is this? And I said to him that night, I said, Dad, I want to be an actor when I grow up. And 30 years later, here we are.
What is it like watching New York City say goodbye to Phantom?
I mean, it's amazing. It's just amazing to see how much this show means to people, and for the last time on Broadway, and for the last time for me. It's a lot.
How did this happen? How are we here? Closing performance of Phantom.
Well, how is it it's taken 35 years? Extraordinary years. And, you know, what you dream of when you put on a show is that people will come and love it. We had no idea that it would run this long. I'm saying a really heartfelt goodbye to this fabulous company here tonight, but I'm not saying goodbye to Phantom. It will always be there. The music of the night will carry on forever.
It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the actors on stage to the orchestra, and of course the people who are behind the scenes whose names you don't see in the playbill, including the ushers. Our man Perry is on the town.
Thanks, Tamsen. Broadway is full of magical moments, but few shows have more than the one right behind me here at the Lyric Theater. Let's head inside to meet one of the ushers for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We are here inside the Lyric Theater with one of the esteemed ushers for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Chin Ho Fung. Chin Ho, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, nice to meet you. It's happy to be here.
So how long have you been with the production?
So I've actually started in December, and I graduated from NYU Tisch in December, and I started working here since.
What is your day-to-day like as an usher here at the Lyric?
It's crazy. I mean, like, first of all, we check in, we sign ourselves in, and we also make sure that we change into our uniforms. And afterwards, we get to check at the front desk to see which track we're at. So we're either usually a lobby track, a orchestra track, a dress circle track, or a balcony track. And so today I'm actually up here in the dress circle, so you're gonna see me working around here today. And then we just station where we are and do what we need to do.
You know, that must keep it fun. Are there any of the tracks you enjoy more than others?
I actually really enjoyed the orchestra track, simply because as an actor myself, I get to basically see the show right up front, anywhere I want in the orchestra, which is nice. Especially when I'm working in front of the orchestra, it's super nice because I just get to watch the actors on stage for the whole show in like row one.
What is it like getting to sit there and see the reactions of these people right in front of you while this magic is happening?
I mean, I think that's the best part about working here sometimes, is not only watching the show, but watching how every audience reacts to different shows. Like, we'd have kids screaming about how crazy it was. We'd have even parents, adults going, oh my God, how did they do that? I think that is what makes this job even more exciting, because yes, we get to watch a Broadway show pretty much every day, but also seeing how people react is just amazing to me.
Now, in addition, you did mention you're an actor. When you're here, you know, watching this magic, you know, how does it help inspire you to keep chasing your career dreams?
I mean, it's a privilege because, like, as I said, like, I get to watch probably the best stage work that you can ever get here in America. Sometimes, like after the show, you get to talk to some of the cast members, and even talk to them inspires you because they tell you about how their day went. Even talking to some of our other ushers, I know a lot of ushers here, even a lot of the crew people they all want to work in stage and all actually perhaps one day want to be on stage. And just talking to them, sharing our stories, and them letting me know how their journey was, how they got to Broadway in the first place. You can never stop smiling because of how successful they are, how successful this show is, and just how awesome this community is, I think.
That's going to do it for us, but until next time, check out the Broadway Show Uncut wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.